Welcome to this podcast. My name is Filippa Levermark, and I created this show so that you can listen in on the sessions that I do and hope that you might benefit from it as well. Perhaps you're going through something similar in your life, or maybe someone close to you is. Either way, I hope you gain some insights, some new perspectives and tools that can help you in your growth and healing journey. Charli wants to work for herself within the yoga and meditation industry, but her fear of speaking in front of people is stopping her to move forwards with her desires. Welcome to listen in on our conversation, where she shifts both her energy and perspective around fear. You ready to start?
Yes.
Okay, so Charli, what would you like help with today?
I'm really looking to work for myself within the yoga, meditation space, but I have some blocks around it, mainly imposter syndrome and confidence of speaking in front of people. And so every time I imagine myself trying to lead a class in front of a lot of people, I just feel a lot of fear and I just don't take action because of that.
Yeah. So I just have an example from my own life I want to start with. I had the same fear. We all have that fear because we grew up quite in an unsafe environment where speaking in front of people was, heavily associated with shame if you did something wrong, right? Or if people laughed at you. So it's a cultural thing to have this, but it's also just a normal human thing to not want to be excluded, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I had this exact same fear, and it's a relevant fear to have, right? You're trying to protect yourself from getting hurt, but the only way through that is to do it with the fear enough times until you don't have fear of that anymore. And I lead an ecstatic dance community in Malaga, and when I was going to lead the first dance, I had that fear, and I'd had it for years. I mean, I had social anxiety, I had panic attacks, all of this. And I had like 3 days before the event, I was like having a hard time sleeping, and I was just going to lead like 15 minutes and then we just dance, right? But I was still scared because I would have 20 people looking at me. And then when I actually sat there, and I was prepared already, like I know what I was going to say, and I knew that it wasn't so much about me at all, right? Because it's about them coming there. It kind of all dropped in that moment, and I got really angry with myself because I was like, why have I not done this earlier? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't that big a thing. And another thing that I also did was being very loving towards myself when I'm in fear. So like, okay, hang on. If I'm really in my heart and I'm really authentic and transparent, it can be like, all right, I'm actually really nervous. I'm going to try speaking to you guys anyway, and everyone relates to that. So those two tools, the giving myself permission to be nervous in front of people and still doing things, and actually just doing it enough. Because sometimes we believe that we should have confidence before we do something, but the only thing we need is courage, right?
Yeah.
When we have courage, we do things that we're scared of, and over time it builds confidence. You can't kind of have confidence when you're going to do something new. Okay. So
That's what I'm waiting for. I've been waiting for confidence.
yeah, and you can't get it until you do it.
Yeah.
Right? Confidence is a consequence of our actions. It's not a prerequisite.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So what we want to practice is courage, which is doing things that we're scared of, which is changing our relationship to fear. And it's not taking away fear, it's doing things with fear, right? So what comes up for you when we're talking about this?
What comes up for me is the first when you said it will come with practice. The first thing that I felt in my body was I felt like my heart drop, because I'm feeling like the fear even more, because if I don't have the confidence first and I'm putting myself into that situation first, that fills me with more fear because I feel like maybe I'm not prepared. But I am prepared to do it. I just feel like maybe I will forget my words. And I think sometimes when I do feel the fear and I go into the heightened fight or flight, that I get mind blank.
Yeah.
So that's what's coming up now, is I'm just imagining myself in front of lots of people and just forgetting my words and having mind blank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that can happen. And to be loving towards yourself, even if that happens.
Right.
Like, guys, I'm so nervous. I'm having a mind blank.
Mm.
So when you understand that you can be with yourself even in that,
Mm.
you are giving yourself permission to fail, right?
Mm.
And when you're giving yourself permission to fail, suddenly it's not as scary anymore. Okay.
Mm.
But we can have a look at the fear, and we can look at how to be comfortable with feeling fear, because that's, if you have that tool, you don't need confidence.
Yeah.
You need
Absolutely.
the correct relationship to fear, right? So we can have a look at that. But first, the way to be kind toward yourself when you are growing outside of your comfort zone is to put yourself in a place where you feel that you're capable and you're a little bit challenged. But to put yourself in a place where you're completely like you feel like you're lacking the skill set, or you're, it's too stressful for you, that is too much.
Mm.
But to take the step that is, okay, this is right where I will feel a little bit of challenge, like it's outside of my comfort zone, but it's not big enough for me to go into panic mode, right? Is there anything that you have that could just be that little step that wouldn't feel so overwhelming?
Yeah. I have something coming up next weekend. Two of my friends want to do a day retreat, and they've said that I could have like an hour
Yeah.
to do some meditation, lead some meditation and movement. So I feel like that will be good, because they said that I don't have to. So yeah, it's not like I'm running the whole day and everybody's waiting for me. So yeah, I feel like that will be my first challenge.
Yeah, perfect. Then you already have that, and then I would advise you to continue having something that you're a little bit scared of, at least weekly,
Mhm.
so that you're practicing courage. That's the only thing. You're not you're basically, yeah, practicing being with your fear.
Right.
In order to practice to be that, you always have to have it a little bit above where you're at, and a
Mm.
commitment to do that, not just so that you have more capacity to live the life that you want, but also a shift in perspective that I had, or that shifted my perspective, is every person who could benefit from you making this shift, because we're all kind of here to help people wake up, to help people feel better. And if that is your calling, to withhold that from the world, you have this future, all these souls kind of waiting for you to step into that, so that they can get the benefits of your gifts, of your energy, of, being an example of that. And if you're not doing that, you're withholding that from them.
Yeah.
And then you're understanding, like, okay, I'm not just doing this for my own sake, even though it's a huge win for you to have that shift, but you're actually doing it for the people who later on will be like, thank you so much for doing this. This really helped me, right?
Yeah.
And you cannot meet them, nor can they meet you, unless you practice courage.
Mm.
That is just a mindset shift.
Absolutely. And that is so true, because there's so many insights that I have that I would love to share with people. So yeah, it really does make sense.
Yeah. We can have now just a little bit look on the fear, if you want to.
Yes, please.
So you can just take a moment and turn your attention inwards. You can close your eyes. And we can imagine this scenario. We're speaking in front of people. Or just bringing up the fear in the body. So where do you feel this fear in your body?
I feel it in my chest. So my chest starts to tighten and my heart starts to beat faster.
Yeah. So put your awareness there in your chest, in your heart. What does the fear want to tell you? Is there any information here? Might be some words, it might be an image, might be something else going on.
Yeah, so the image is me not being able to speak, me complete mind blank and just frozen.
Good. So has this happened to you?
It has, yeah, a few times.
Okay. What did you believe was true about yourself, having had those experiences?
That I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not confident enough.
Yeah. So when was the first time that you felt that you're not good enough?
It would have been when I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
I used to get shouted at quite a lot, and yeah, if I said or did something that wasn't what my dad wanted to hear, then I would get really shouted at, and also I used to get smacked as well.
Yeah. How old were you when you think about this?
6.
Yeah. So I'd like you to bring up this scenario. Could be general, could be specific, in your mind. And first, I just want you to connect to your inner child, your 6-year-old. What is she feeling right now?
A lot of shame for saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And really sad as well. Really sad to not know that there's a sadness of not knowing what to say.
Yeah. And I'd like you to go into this scenario as your adult self. And you can act as a mother to this child. What did she need in this scenario?
She needed somebody to understand her and speak to her calmly.
Yeah. So I'd like you to give her that now. You can speak calmly to her. You can say, I understand that you had all these emotions, but I want to let you know as well that you can speak and say and do whatever is in you. There's nothing wrong with you. You didn't do anything wrong. I understand the shame. You didn't understand what was going on, but it had nothing to do with you. You were only a child. And I'm sorry that you were punished. And that you had to go through that fear as a child. And let her know that she is good enough. In fact, she's plenty. How does she feel now that she has your attention?
She has her guard up a little.
Mhm.
She isn't used to hearing that, and she feels a little unable to fully trust what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I'd like you to understand her in this. Because to build a relationship with her takes time, just like any other relationship. And that you can completely understand that she feels that way. You can let her know as well that you're willing to build trust with her by giving her attention. How does she feel?
She feels relief after hearing that.
Yeah. Is there anything else that she needs from you right now?
I would say some affection. I'm picturing a big hug.
Yeah. You can even take her out so she's in a different environment where she's not abused. You can also hold yourself in this. You can visualize a mother holding a child. And you can also put hands on the area in your chest where you felt it. What is going on for her now?
So when I said about taking her to a different environment, she really was happy with that. And now I feel quite sad because yeah, she felt so relieved and she felt so happy to get out of that house, and now I'm just feeling quite sad that it was quite bad because she really doesn't want to go back there.
Yeah. Yeah, and every time a memory comes up where she was there, you can bring her out of it. Just like you're doing right now. So she doesn't ever have to go back there. Because with your attention and with your guidance, you can influence the memories of the past. So when you start feeling this sadness, what comes up for you?
What comes up is how many years that she had to go through so much, feeling misunderstood and feeling like nobody listened to her or believed her.
Yeah.
And a lot of times where she felt like everything was her fault and she would get told off for her behavior quite a lot, and that she was the bad sibling, and she really believed that she was.
So in this scenario where she has this coming up for her, how old is she in general? Like, I'm a bad person.
It was when her sister was also around, so her sister was 6 years younger, so I think she was probably 10.
We're going to do the same thing here, so you can picture that scenario. And you can go into that scenario as an adult, as the mother. And first, I just want you to ask her how she's feeling. Just connect to her.
She's feeling angry.
Good. What is going on for her in the anger?
She's feeling angry that she's always getting shouted at and nobody's listening.
Yeah. What would she have needed to express in this to the person that she is angry at?
The words that are coming up right now are, "Why don't you believe me?"
Yeah. Why don't you believe me? What else?
You're always shouting at me.
Yeah. Stop shouting.
Mm,
I don't want you to shout at me. I don't like it.
yeah.
What else?
That this isn't fair.
This is not fair. I shouldn't be treated this way.
Yes.
I deserve better.
Mm.
I'm only 10. What else?
That I'm scared of. So I feel like I'm feeling the fear, like the heart dropping now. So feeling scared of being around my dad.
Yeah. What would she have needed in this situation?
She would need safety, somewhere that's private, where she can go that he won't be able to get in.
Yeah. Can you take her to a place like that?
Yeah.
And what else does she need now that she's in that place?
She needs help with feeling safe. So some calm words and some physical touch.
Yeah. So just take a moment and imagine this now happening and give it to her. How is she feeling now?
She's feeling a little softer,
Mm-hmm.
a little less tense and scared. She's feeling more soft and calm.
Yeah. So you can come back with your awareness in your body right now. And just feel this area where you felt the fear in the chest. What is going on in that area right now?
Feels more peaceful now.
So there is this part of you, right, that we're addressing now that has the whole fear around expressing yourself, speaking, and getting punished. So there's or there was at least, a somatic fear of punishment for doing something wrong when speaking.
Mm.
And having that active in your system obviously causes the fear to be more intense because it's been this history of punishing. Now, I'm going to assume that your dad is not around to punish you today, but maybe you've taken on that role yourself once
Yeah.
you have been in this fear state and you haven't performed, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'd like you to just address that part of you, that when you had these times when you couldn't speak and you couldn't express yourself at all, what happened after you had those experiences. And this might be this kind of harsh internal voice, right? Oh, you're not good enough, or these things, right?
Yes.
So if we bring up that part now, what is it saying in this? What is the voice of that part of you?
You always mess up.
Yeah. What else?
You embarrass yourself.
Yeah. What else?
You, you're not confident.
Yeah. So this part of you was created by you as a way to cope and survive. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah.
When was this part created? How old were you when you started to create this part of you?
The age that comes up is 14.
Yeah, good. Can we speak to this 14-year-old? Right? So she started to internalize a harsh voice towards self so that you would not experience pain. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because this was her way of trying to be in the world. Don't mess up, don't fail. You're this kind of, you're bad at this, or all these things, so that you would change and fit in and get love and attention. So first, we can just appreciate her efforts from protecting you, because you wouldn't have developed this unless somehow it worked. Okay? We can thank this 14-year-old for protecting you in a weird way, so that you didn't have to go through pain, right? Because if you didn't have that connection and that attention and love, then you would be excluded. So that's where a 14-year-old is the same as dying, right? It's a valid fear that we needed to protect ourselves against. So we then need to do everything we can to belong. Okay, so she developed that part so that you would not die, right? So first we just thank her. Thank you for protecting me from feeling pain, from being excluded, from potential punishment. What is this 14-year-old feeling now?
She's feeling pain, actually. So a pain in the heart area. It's a real it's a pain of, because she's being thanked, it's a pain of hearing that for the first time and feeling relief.
Yeah.
Feeling pain that she's felt like she's had to do this for so long.
Yeah. Well, she has tried to protect you for a very long time, and she's 14, you know? It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah. Beautiful. So you can let her know that she doesn't have to do this role anymore. You can caretake her now. She does not need to protect you because as an adult, you have the capacity to be with pain even though it's uncomfortable. And as a young child, you didn't, so you had to develop strategies. But as an adult, you can. So you don't need her protection from pain anymore. You can handle it. And then she can just sit back and relax. And if she comes up as a part of you, you can give her attention and love and understanding. But she doesn't have to run the show. Because you are a divine being. You have infinite power and energy. And you can run your own human. And better than a 14-year-old who's scared, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How does she feel now, the 14-year-old?
She feels softer. She
Yeah.
feels less tense.
Yeah. Good. So we can come back to present awareness and just address what has happened. So you came in with this wanting to be able to speak in front of people, to do your wellness offerings, maybe wanting to change your career and start a new path. And this misconception that you needed confidence to move forward, but actually you need courage. And the reason why you haven't stepped forward into this is because the fear has felt too overwhelming, right? And the fear had different parts. So there's a part of you that is scared of punishment, that is the small child, the 6-year-old, that believes that she's done something wrong or she is wrong somehow, that has shame and she just doesn't understand what she should do. And then there's a part of you that is like internally trying to control who you are so that you fit in, which can be very criticizing if you're doing something that is considered weird or wrong or like a failure, right? And what you can do moving forward is, if the fear comes up in you, because it will, is to sit with the different parts of you that are running the fear, so to speak, until you are in a place where you're at right now, which is, okay, I'm back to peace. You can still be nervous, or sometimes we can frame it as excited, right? It's kind of this anticipating something that will happen, right? You can still have that energy, but you don't have to have this energy from the past that is kind of holding on to you. And the last thing that I want to bring before we end the session is what I call like a little turnaround. So because you're meeting fear, right? You're meeting a pattern here where you're not good enough, so to speak, or where you're failing. The only way for you to know that you have transmuted that pattern is to actually meet it. So, for example, say that you can't speak, you lose your voice, and you're really scared that that will happen, right? I'd like you to actually invite this to happen so that this time you can meet it with love and compassion and not judgment and criticism, but understanding that it's not a surprise, given your history, that fear for you is not just scary because it's fear, but it is associated with a punishment, right? And it's associated with being wrong somehow. So to hold yourself in compassion if the fear becomes overwhelming to this point where you can't speak, that is literally your body like trying to heal the moments when you couldn't express yourself, when you couldn't speak, and you have now gone into freeze mode because that is, because you were punished in this scenario. So I'm not saying that I want you to immediately go into freeze mode, but to have just that kind of psychological turnaround, that let's invite that this is at least an experience that I can now have the courage that if it happens, then afterwards I can meet me in love. I can meet me with understanding. And then that scenario to go into freeze and not being able to speak and embarrassing yourself in front of people, which technically it's not, because so many people can relate and most people just feel compassion for someone, right? That scenario doesn't become scary anymore because you're not punishing yourself. You're not getting hard on yourself on that. And then, like we said in the beginning of the session, that your next steps now is to invite fear as your friend, so that you are expanding your capacity to be with fear. And again, we want to be gentle. We don't want to throw you out to the wolves, so to speak, or throw you over the rock, right? We want to take small steps that that are just a little bit challenging, so that you slowly and surely build confidence. But you can only build that through experience, right?
Yeah.
How does all of this feel for you?
It feels good. Yeah, I feel like I can do that, and I feel a lot calmer about it, and yeah, I'm ready to try, and I'm ready to meet myself with the love and compassion, because that's what I think I've really been missing when I'm trying new things, and then maybe I'm not doing them. So yeah, I feel like with what you say really resonates, that if I do fail, then it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think will be really important.
Yeah, and actually inviting the failure so that you can practice compassion with yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
That is actually the goal, right? The goal isn't I'm going to be this perfect, confident person. No, the goal is I'm going to be okay with failure, because having that mindset, you can do anything with that mindset. You can take any risk. You can do anything in life because you're okay if it fails. You don't have resisting to it failing, but having to be perfect, having to present yourself in a certain way, having to do everything, with confidence, that is not helping you at all. To have that as a goal. The goal should be to do something that you're scared of, and if you fail, it's a good thing. You learn, you move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else that you want to share or ask or bring up in this session before we wrap up?
No, that feels complete for now. Thank you.
Perfect. That's what I felt as well. Okay, excellent. So I hope you well, I wish you well in this. And the world can see you in this role. And yeah, I hope everything goes your way.
Thank you. That was really, really helpful. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for listening to this show. If you're interested in working with me, either through a similar session like this in a longer container, or if you want to come to any of my local events in Malaga in Spain, you can click the links in the show notes or go to my website, filippalevermark.com, to find out more.